ये तो पूरा साइड में रिएक्शन लग रहा है। वो ऊपर रखो अब सही हो गया क्या कर्टन हाँ हाँ कर दो वो रहेगा I don't think it's looking very. But पता नहीं this light doesn't have too much intensity और वहाँ ही अच्छा लगता है सिर्फ. Actually, ring light का ऐसी है इसका. कुछ ज़्यादा इसमें है नहीं ना उससे. हाँ ठीक है. बहुत होता है.
Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah, clearly. Nandita, can you hear him, right?
Yeah,
You can
I
hear
can
him.
hear. Yeah.
So, is
Hi,
it
Priyam.
possible
Hi, how are
to
you?
put the flap a little down?
Sure. Is it okay now?
You can see yourself on screen, right?
Yeah.
Currently, you're looking down. Is it possible to keep something under your laptop so that it will be on your eye level, the laptop camera?
Just a second. Yeah. Is it better?
Put the flap
Flap
a
down?
little. Yeah. Is that a light towards your right?
Just a second. I will switch it off.
That's a reflection at the background.
Yeah. So the light is coming from the main light.
No problem. This is better because that light was giving reflection to at the background. Fine, it's better. Just give me 2 minutes, we'll start.
अशोक 10 minutes हो जाएगा तो बता देना.
Okay.
I'll just end it.
Hi, Nandita. On a count of five, give a thumbs up on the screen, and then after in 3 seconds, you can start. Okay? Okay.
Well, hi guys, welcome to this Money Control live stream. You're watching Earnings Central with me, Nandita Khemka. Of course, the earnings season is in full swing, and the spotlight today will be on the FMCG space, given the fact that we'll have HUL reporting its numbers in just a bit. Of course, the FMCG index hasn't really been doing all that well. In fact, it has been an underperformer at a time when the market has hit a fresh high. To understand what to expect from some of these companies like HUL, let me bring on board my guest for today. Joining me is Priyam Tolia, who's the senior FMCG research analyst at Axis Securities. Priyam, great to have you here on Money Control. Let me first ask you, what are your thoughts on what one should be expecting from the FMCG space? Given the fact that volumes have been a pain point over the last few quarters, and there has been no change in rural demand as such. Would you expect urban demand to continue to outpace rural demand? And on the volume scenario, do you expect any kind of an improvement?
So yeah, thanks for inviting. So with regards to the volume growth for the sector, what we expect is that this quarter would be similar to what the companies have reported in the last 2 quarters, which is again the rural is continues to remain under pressure, while the urban is likely to outpace the rural in this quarter as well, right? So there are a couple of things. So the rural demand, which was anticipated that it will see a recovery, it has not panned out in line with the expectations of the companies. So we expect the rural continue to remain under pressure in Q4 as well.
Right. With respect to HUL, what are the kind of volume figures you're working with, given the fact that some companies have taken price cuts, including HUL? Do you expect any kind of improvement in volumes due to price cuts? And what would be the impact on the top line?
So yeah, for HUL, we expect around 2 or 3% volume growth. However, this volume growth will largely be led by the price cut which companies have undertaken in various categories. So we expect so on the overall top line growth, we expect a flattish revenue growth for the company. So entirely this revenue growth, which is likely to remain flattish, would be led by the volume growth of 2 or 3% versus similar kind of a price cuts.
Do you see any scope for margin expansion at all? And what would you be watching out for from the management commentary? Because last quarter, management had outlined that there would be short-term challenges, and the demand environment, of course, is challenging, as you also pointed out. But from the management commentary, anything specific that you'll be watching out for in terms of
Yes, for
HUL?
yeah. So management commentary for HUL would be very crucial in terms of the rural demand, how is likely to pick up. Again, the rainfall prediction from IND and various other climate channels has suggested that this time the rainfall is likely to be good. The La Nina effect is likely to play out. Again, the rainfall is again likely to be well distributed across the country. So please note, last year the rainfall was in line with the long-term average, but the rainfall was not distributed well, right? So this time the commentary from the SkyMed and the IMD have suggested that the rainfall would be well distributed in this, which is likely to drive the volume growth for the company in the rural, especially in the rural. Again, the government spending in terms of the infrastructure is likely to create a job, right? So what we expect is that the bad times for the rural is likely over. However, the recovery would be gradual, and the major part of the recovery would come only in the second half of the year.
Let's talk about Tata Consumer that reported its numbers, and of course, today it's reacting to it down 4% or thereabouts as we speak. It's a top nifty loser. Of course, numbers have been a mixed bag, so to say. Narishco was weaker than expected, but the Ching's acquisition has spiced up the foods business, so to say, and the Organic India acquisition will also reflect in the numbers from the next quarter. But post the numbers, most brokerages have still retained their faith. They are still bullish on the stock. But post the numbers, would you adjust your EPS estimates? What are your thoughts and what are your key takeaways from the numbers here?
Yeah, so from a Tata Consumer perspective, so we don't cover the stock actively in our company. But in terms of the overall outlook for the company, we like the company from a longer term perspective because the growth drivers are which for the company is likely to remain intact in a longer term perspective. Again, the acquisition of the Chings would be a key growth driver for the company in the coming quarters.
All right. Talking about Nestle, then of course it will be reporting its numbers as well, and Street is expecting a good set of numbers. But of course, it has been embroiled in quite a few controversies over the last, say, 8 to 9 years, right? The sugar issue with respect to baby foods products is something that has got the Street really roiled because we saw the stock reacting sharply, when the reports really emerged. But what are your thoughts as to how big this issue would turn out to be for the company? Do you think it could be as big as how Maggie ban turned out to be for the company?
So no, so we don't expect the Maggie kind of a fiasco for the company because see that Nestle baby food is the market leader in the segment, right? So it has a 90-95% market share in the entire baby food segment. So what we expect is that there could be some short-term sentimental demand issues, but on a longer-term basis, we continue to remain positive from the portfolio of the baby portfolio, right? So we continue to remain positive for the company, and we don't expect much hindrance in that particular kind of a portfolio. Again, yes, so there are regulatory challenges for most of the companies. Again, yesterday, the MDH Masala and players have got a
Hmm.
notice, right? So in terms
Right.
of the food regulation. So what we expect is that the companies are likely to tighten their belt in terms of the overall
Hmm.
regulation perspective.
What about these rural focused companies like Dabur, Marico? Would you expect any kind of recovery in FY25? Because, of course, on the back of slower rural demand and hardly any signs of recovery in rural demand, we've seen the numbers, unenthusing the street, so to say. But going forward in FY25, do you think, there could be some bit of recovery and, that could lease some bit of life in these stocks? Because, of course, as you mentioned, there are predictions of above normal monsoon. So, do you think FY25 would be the year of recovery for some of these companies?
As of now, what we expect is that the FY25 could be better compared to the FY24 in terms of the overall performance. So there are two, three. There are reasons for that is because the worst part, what we believe for the rural, right, the inflation has remained stable. The overall consumer inflation has remained stable. Raw material prices uh, has been under scanner in the last 1 month. But what we expect is that the price increase of 3 to 4% is likely to absorb well in the market, right? So worst is behind for the sector, and but only what we expect is that the major recovery is from the second half, led by the festive and the uh, season and the other season.
Hmm. But from a valuation standpoint, after the kind of correction we've seen, and underperformance that we've seen in FMCG stocks, which are the stocks that have caught your attention from a valuation standpoint? Would it be the mid cap ones, or would it be the larger ones like HUL?
So yeah, so from a valuation perspective, there could be an argument that the FMCG companies, the larger FMCG, continues to remain expensive, right? So there are reasons for that is because they command a higher best-in-class return ratio, so they command a their higher valuations. Again, from a current scenario, from an actual perspective, if the company has, I mean, the valuations could see a reasonable at this current juncture because of the share price fall of the for the HUL. But from a longer term perspective, if one wants to invest, that it could be a right position. So what we are currently focusing on the companies is those companies which are increasing the distribution reach in the rural, right? So let's take the example of Britannia and Nestle. So we like the companies which are increasing the distribution reach in the rural.
Hmm.
Secondly, the companies which are geographically and the product expansion strategy which they are implementing is the Jyoti Labs, right, in the mid cap space. So we like Jyoti Labs, we like Nestle, we like Britannia, and from a Varun Beverages perspective, yes, their valuations are high for the company, but the growth continues to remain intact for the company, right? So valuation could not be a major challenge. in that
Now,
front.
going back to the likes of HUL and Nestle, of course, they have hiked the royalty payment to their parent companies, right? So, going forward, what kind of an impact do you envisage of higher royalty on the earnings of these companies?
So royalty payment increase, again, we will see this royalty impact on the actual in this result. So the EBITDA margins, though the gross margins are likely to expand by 400 bps, right? But the EBITDA margins are likely to impacted because of the two things is again the royalty increase, increase in the ad spends, and the commission which company was getting from the GSK is not likely to come in this quarter. So yes, the EBITDA margins are likely to remain flattish for the company.
Okay. All right, last question really. With 3 lakh crore rupees worth of sales in FY24, Reliance Retail is now bigger than some of the players like, DMart, HUL, ITC combined. So what is the kind of value it can create on listing? I needed your thoughts on this.
So we don't cover Reliance on we don't cover the Reliance retailers per se, but again, if you see the company, right, so they are penetrating deep inside the smaller towns where most of the retailers have not yet entered. So the Reliance is entering into smaller towns. So which is why the company is able to see the growth of this kind. So yeah, we remain so we don't cover the stock as such.
Hmm. Well, all right, then appreciate your thoughts on this. And of course, would like to thank you for taking out time and joining in and sharing your thoughts on how really FMCG earnings could pan out in the quarter gone by. But with that, Priyam, thanks a lot. And of course, look forward to touching base with you on, some of the earnings that would be trickling in. And we would get you back on our shows to, decode those earnings.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, with that, we've come to the end of this Money Control live stream. Thanks a lot for tuning into Earnings Central. Of course, stay tuned to Money Control for all your other news and updates.